Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another podcast chit chat with me and my mum. I'm speaking to you from the south of Spain, and you'll notice that I've got a little bit of a tan. I'm starting to get a nice golden brown colour. Hopefully, it'll last, but usually, as soon as I go back to England or Belgium, it fades away in no time. And Mum was just commenting on my mustache. So, Mum, what do you think about the new addition, my mustache? Are you a fan or not?
To sit on the fence a little bit with this one. It suits you. I do prefer the clean shaven look, and it does remind me of Magnum PI, the private investigator. It was I think an American actor, Tom Selleck. Maybe you're channeling something like that. Who knows? But yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. Yeah. I'll say oh. But it's yeah. Okay, I'll get off the fence. It's probably a no from me. But I love you. Okay.
Well, let us know in the comments. Should I keep the mustache or not? Are you on the fence? Are you undecided whether you like it? Or are you in favour of the mustache? Or are you against the mustache? Let me know in the comments. And if you are sitting on the fence, it means you're undecided. You're not directly showing whether you agree or disagree. But in the end, Mum got off the fence and she said that she wasn't a fan. So, hey. It is what it is. But apart from that, Mum, we haven't done one of these in a few weeks because I've been kind of on holiday. Tell us about you. Have you been making the most of the never-ending heat wave back in the UK?
It's lovely. It's marvellous. I would say, yes, I have. Apart from, I was glad we had a pause between recording because I went to Scotland. Beautiful. My dad was mountain bike racing, but there's some little insects. They call them midges. You can get them in the UK, but mainly in Scotland. And I was bitten all over. So my face was just covered in bites. I was itching. They were weeping, blisters. I had to go to the chemist and get some special cream. So it wasn't a good look. But I'll go again. I'll just take more spray. I knew I was in trouble when we came to the car park. It was in a forest. And there was a lady with an actual net bag over her head. So it kept the midges off. So top tip for next time I visit. But apart from that, yes, lovely and sunny.
And midges, they're kind of like tiny mosquitoes, but as you said, they're very, very common in Scotland, in particular around the Highlands, by forests and stuff like that. And Mum, you must just have really, really juicy skin or blood because they're always attracted to you.
They are. And Dad was bitten and he had little tiny pink sort of marks. And then he went to sleep. He woke up the next day, fine. I wake up all over, itching, lumps, you name it. But it's gone now. It's all good.
You can't tell. It's as if it had never happened. And one thing to bring up, to introduce, is that when I was going for a walk along the shore, sunbathing a little bit, I think it was last week, and I was having a chat with my fiance, and she was suggesting a video idea because it's strange that some insects bite you and other insects sting you. So you mentioned that mosquitoes bite you and midges bite you as well, but then bees and wasps, they sting you. And the list goes on between biting and stinging. So maybe I'll make a video about this in the future to go over which insects bite and which insects sting. Let's say.
Good choice.
Now, as usual, I prepared 8 different random conversation questions. So let's go over them, starting with the first one. And both of us will give our answers. The first question is, why do you think some people hate mornings? And remember, a morning person, you could also call them an early bird. And somebody who likes the night, you can call them a night owl. But Mum, what do you think? Why do some people hate mornings?
I think some people just find it difficult to get up and to sort of galvanize themselves to sort of get going. I would say I am a morning person, which is almost a shame because your dad is the opposite. So I get up and I'm happy to talk, whereas he's not. He's not very talkative in the morning. Maybe after some coffee, he will improve. I think I just like to get up. I don't want to waste the day. So I just get up and sort of get on with it. Now, when I was working, I hated Monday mornings, but that or the thought of, oh, I've got to get to Friday now. What a busy week. So, but generally, yeah, I'm a morning person. I think there's been a study about teenagers because they're notorious for wanting to stay in bed. And I think it actually said there's something happens in puberty with their body clock. So somewhere trialed a 10 a.m. start, and apparently the teenagers were much better. They were much more human, less grumpy, more healthy. So, yeah, but yeah, I like mornings. I like mornings.
Yeah, I guess it must be related to the fact that if you're asleep, you're in bed, you're maybe under the covers, you're so comfortable, you're so cozy. And then the moment your alarm goes off, it's just ruining this satisfying, lovely time when you might be dreaming, thinking that you're on holiday, having a nice drink in the sun. And then all of a sudden, reality hits and
Mhm.
your alarm goes off. You've got to jump out of bed, get a shower, brush your teeth, wash your face, get in the car to go to work or walk down to school. So I think it's like reality hits you and all of this nice moment is over. It's kind of like comparing it to when you're on holiday and then your holiday is about to come to an end. And it's like, oh, now I've got to get back to reality, back to the routine. So maybe that's the reason why some people don't like mornings. But to be honest, like you, I kind of enjoy waking up early. And even now, when I'm kind of half on holiday, half working, I'm still setting an alarm because I don't want to just stay in bed really, really late because then I feel like I haven't really achieved anything with my day. And as you get older, time starts to pass more quickly. Time flies. So then I'm like, well, I should probably make the most of every day. So that's my kind of philosophical thought when it comes to this question.
I agree. And actually, probably thinking about it, it's easier to get up early during the summer when it's light. Whereas that winter, like you say, when you're all cozy, you're thinking, I'll just stay here nice and warm.
Right? Especially if you know you need to have a shower. And the moment you get out of the shower, when it's really, really cold, and you've got to grab your towel to keep yourself a little bit warm, and you're like shivering as you get out of a warm shower, and then the cold air hits you. Oh, that's one of the worst feelings in the world for sure. So now in summer, it's like, well, it's sunny, it's warm, so why not get up and take on the day? Now, let's keep going. The next question is a hypothetical one, a second conditional. And it's a little bit depressing, but we can put a positive spin on it. So, if it was your last day on Earth, how would you spend it? If you knew that it was going to be your last 24 hours on the planet alive, what would you do? Mum, what would you do?
Well, obviously, I'm very family orientated, so I would want all my close family around me. I'd like to be perhaps on a beach, not a busy, crowded beach, one where, there was only us perhaps, or some people sort of further away. We just have a nice time together, love a picnic, just sort of play around, chatting. And then I think as it got towards the evening, I would be just like, okay, that's enough family time now. Just to be with your dad. I mean, I know we've been together 40 odd years, but I would still just want it to be just me and Bruce, just the two of
Oh,
a lovely meal together. I'm not sure how I would choose my last meal. I mean, it wouldn't be my normal favourites, which is a roast dinner or a prawn biryani. I'd probably want some sort of tasting menu so I could have a bit of everything so that, I didn't have to choose. So it just nothing major, nothing exciting, no big experience, just family and then just me and Dad. Yeah. What about you, darling?
I mean, it sounds very simple, but I guess the important thing is just spending time with your loved ones, the people you love. And I'd probably choose to do something similar. Of course, I'd want to be with you, with the rest of the family, with my fiance, and with some of my best mates as well. And like the previous question, I'd try to really take advantage of the time. So I'd get up really, really early. Maybe I'd wake up, have 2 or 3 cups of coffee to really get me going. And I'd have a nice brunch and a walk with my fiance. Then part of me is thinking that I should do things that I'm afraid of to be able to experience that because I know, I mean, if I'm going to die the next day or if the world is going to end the next day, I might as well. So maybe I'd go skydiving. Maybe I'd go bungee jumping. Maybe I would ride a motorbike as fast as possible. I'd possibly try to do 1 or 2 of these things that right now I'm a bit afraid of doing, but I'd think, what have I got to lose? Nothing. So I'd probably do something like that. Then I'd meet up with my mates, we'd have some drinks. Maybe we'd go to a karaoke place as well and sing our hearts out. So I would genuinely try to squeeze as many fun activities into the day as possible. And of course, I'd be excited about having the best meal ever. So I'd go to the best possible restaurant and I'd order everything on the menu because there are times when you're like, mm, I'm not sure. Which one should I go for? In this scenario, I'd just be like, give me one of everything. Thank you. So yeah, I would do that, I think. Just order everything and do everything that otherwise I'm afraid of doing.
Good job.
Thank you. Now, the next question is a little bit simpler. Where is a place where you feel completely relaxed, completely at ease and at peace? Mum, what's your place?
Well, people have this expression of saying, this is my happy place, which sometimes can sound a bit twee, a bit sort of cringy. But actually, last week, your dad was working in a place called Scarborough. There was the cricket. He was covering some of that. So I like Filey, which I've probably mentioned before. It's on the coast. So I hopped on the train, went to Filey, walked on the beach. It was fairly quiet. It was bustling, absolutely bustling in the town centre. So many people because it's school holidays over here. But then on the beach, it's a really long stretch of beach. And I just remember at one point, I'd not really prepared enough things. I'd not taken anything to sit on. So I just sort of perched on a rock and I closed my eyes. Lovely sunny day. And I could hear the waves sort of gently lapping. There were some dogs far away barking, but that was quite nice, and some children playing. So it was just lovely. It just felt peaceful and relaxing. And I obviously have a lot of happy childhood memories there. And yet sometimes you don't have the luxury of time to be able to do that. So when I was very busy at work, sometimes I'd just get in and I'd just think, right, I'm going to run a bath, plenty of hot water, bubbles, sit back, do not disturb, please. And just half an hour. And that was just relaxing too. So, you can't always have the big day out, but you can have half an hour in a bath, maybe even with a glass of wine, a cheeky glass of wine.
Exactly. Live a little, treat yourself, spoil
Yeah.
yourself. Why not?
What's your take on this then, Lewis?
I mean, there are so many options. You could say maybe on an empty beach would be a nice relaxing place, or being in a forest or in the woods as well, when you can hear wildlife and birds and like different twigs kind of snapping as little creatures wander the woods. and that's quite relaxing, but I don't think it would be my most relaxing place. And I'm probably going to go with an easy, lazy, but very relatable option, which is just the sofa. So lying down on the sofa, on the settee, on the couch, in front of the TV, when you're not sat down, but you're completely lying down. And you've, of course, got a cushion behind you so you can properly rest your neck. You've got the remote control in your hand as well. And especially the moment when you've ticked off your to-do list for the day, you know you don't have to do anything else. And you can just kind of like jump onto the sofa, lie down, whack on the telly, and then choose something to watch. And this is probably a very simple but relatable option of the most relaxing place. Just your sofa.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what I would go for sure. And notice that I used a couple of synonyms for sofa. You can say sofa, you can say couch, or you can say settee. And a couple of adjectives that Mum used just a couple of minutes ago was bustling. So a bustling beach is a very, very crowded, packed beach with lots of life. And the other one was one that I don't usually use, but Mum said twee. So it's quite twee. And twee is an adjective to say kind of like cute, quaint, or maybe quite sentimental. I can't remember the context, but maybe spending the evening with Dad, going to a nice restaurant. It's quite twee, quite sentimental, cute. Oh. Okay, now how about the next question? And it is an unusual one, but I've chosen it anyway. And it's another second conditional, so another hypothetical question. So if you could change your name, what would you change it to? Mom?
This is an unusual question. I've never really thought about changing my name, but growing up, my name's Julie, and there were so many Julies in my class. I was born in 1964, so I actually Googled when you said we would talk about names. I said, right, I'll Google my name. And when I was born was 1964. I know, I'm so old. And Julie is the second most popular name of that year for little girls. I think the first one might have been Susan, and I do have a friend called Susan, but actually I don't mind Julie. It's okay. It was just too popular. And I think my mum also, there was an actress, a beautiful singing voice called Julie Andrews. And I think she did Mary Poppins, The Sound of Music, all in the 1960s, sort of 1964, 1965. And I think actually that maybe even influenced people a little more because she was a really, really attractive, lovely looking lady and very talented. But yes, I don't really think I'd change it. It does definitely date me. You can sort of say there's not going to be many Julies born now. It's like an old fashioned name. But then you see, I loved your name. And really, Lewis, from what I remember, I will let you tell this because you definitely in preschool wanted to change your name. I think there's a little bit of hero worship going on, but would you like to expand on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, you've filled in a little bit of a memory for me because you mentioned that when I went to preschool, there was an older boy and his name was Max. And then I thought, oh, that sounds so cool. And the fact that it's a short name, I think maybe there was another reference of Max from a cartoon or something similar as well. So I remember like asking you, like, can I change my name? Can I be called Max? And I never had anything against my name. Like Lewis, I think it's quite a cool name. It's not the best in the world, but it's not the worst. I'm happy with my name. But when I saw that somebody else older and cooler than me was called Max, I obviously wanted to be like him. I wanted to be his like mini me. So I think I asked you, like, could I be called Max? Whenever I played different video games, and of course, when you're setting up a new account, it will ask you what your name is. So sometimes I did actually write Max instead of Lewis. So I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe I was in love with this older kid, or maybe I wanted to be just like him. I don't
Oh,
remember exactly, but I did want to change my name to Max.
mm.
Nowadays, though, Max wouldn't be that common, and it strikes me more of like a dog's name nowadays. So, of course, there are different versions of Max in different languages, like Maximiliano, but I don't know how common it is, but it feels like nowadays, in the UK at least, there are more dogs called Max than human beings. And I don't think I would change my name nowadays. My name is Lewis. I like Lewis. In Spanish, I can easily switch it to Luis, and it's quite a smooth transition. With Italian, I could also do a similar thing and say that my name is Luigi. So it's quite versatile between languages. And there are famous people called Lewis as well. Think Lewis Hamilton, also the famous boxer Lennox Lewis, but in this case it was his surname. So yeah, I'm quite content with my name, but when I was a child, I 100% wanted to be called Max, but you didn't let me, Mum.
I did. I didn't. I did let you buy a hat. You did. I do remember getting a baseball hat, and you could get, the letter of the alphabet, and obviously yours would have been an L for Lewis, but no, you chose the M, and I thought it's just a hat. I'll just go with the flow. I'll just let him have the hat, not the name change, but the hat's fine.
You see, if I ever decide to change my brand and you see that there is a new guy popping up on social media who looks just like me, but his his username is English with Max, well, you know who it is. All right, let's move on to the next question. And this one is another one which is a little bit simpler, let's say. And it is, what's something you find really satisfying? It could be a moment, it could be something you eat, something you smell, something you do, and just a little explanation because in Spanish at least, this is quite a difficult word to translate because you have satisfying and satisfactory that has the same translation in Spanish. So it depends on the context. So satisfying is something that gives you satisfaction, and satisfactory in an exam, for example, if you get a 6 out of 10, it would be satisfactory. It's like, it's okay. It's a pass. It's not great. It's not amazing, but it's satisfactory. So forget satisfactory for now, and let's focus on satisfying that gives you satisfaction. So, Mum, what's something that you find really satisfying?
Well, it's something I have to really work myself up to do. I have to sort of psych myself up. I can look at the garden. We have a lot of trees and bushes and hedges that get quite overgrown quickly. So I have to really think, I need to do that gardening. And I put it off. I think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. It's a big job. But then once I get started, I'm hacking away. And and it all looks lovely afterwards. I mean, I hate the clear up and the going to the tip, but I can sit, outside at the table, look at the garden and think, well, that's really satisfying. It looks really good now. I'm really pleased that I made the effort and just sort of bit the bullet and just sort of got on with it, really. Sometimes I think something that you don't want to do, once you've done it, you're quite pleased. Maybe it's because you're relieved and you can just see the results. So yes, gardening is something I get quite a lot of satisfaction from. How about you?
I mean, I see what you mean when it comes to doing things that you don't want to do, that maybe you've been putting off for a while. Once you actually finish this, like paperwork, maybe doing different stuff that you've been procrastinating. This is very satisfying because it's like, what a relief. It's done. You can see the impact of the work that you didn't want to do. But in the end, as you said, you bit the bullet. And to bite the bullet is an expression which is to do something in the end that you don't want to do, but you know is necessary. So you'd been putting it off, postponing it for ages. And in the end, you thought, okay, let's do this. I bit the bullet and I got it done. I hacked away, as you said, at the hedges, the bushes. You cleared it up and you took it to the tip. And the tip is a big kind of recycling center where you take all of your plastic, gardening rubbish, you name it. This is a tip, a big recycling center. So I agree with you in this sense. But other things that for me are very, very satisfying would be right now in summer when it's really, really hot and you get all sticky and sweaty. Right now, I could do with putting on the air conditioning because I'm getting a little bit sweaty and sticky. So when we finish recording this, the idea of having a cold shower or the idea of going to a swimming pool and diving into the pool. Oh, this is so satisfying when you're so warm and sweaty and then suddenly like that, you cool down and you get into water is very, very satisfying for me. And another one is after working out. So after you've been training a lot, doing exercise, or if you've signed up for a marathon, for example, and you're running for 42 kilometers and you cross the finish line, of course, you're exhausted, you're shattered, but you feel so proud of yourself and so absolutely exhausted that you can barely move. But it's this kind of pleasant pain where you're hobbling around because you can barely walk. And it's just like, all this hard work has paid off and your willpower has kept you going to cross the finish line. So that I would say, is the most satisfying feeling when you cross the finish line after completing a marathon or something similar.
Well done.
Thank you very much. If you want, Mum, we could do a marathon together next year.
Marathon, I can probably guarantee that, but I know that you've done quite a number of marathons. So yes, well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, maybe marathons are more my thing, but Mum, the next question is definitely more your thing. So perhaps we've touched on this topic before. We've maybe not gone deep into it, but my mum likes buying different things. Nothing too expensive, but just little gadgets, little decorations. So that's why I've chosen this question. Mum, what's the most ridiculous thing that you've ever spent money on, or rather wasted money on?
I just knew this would be aimed at me. And honestly, where do I start? I
The list goes on and on.
Yeah. I'll narrow it down, shall I? I think, yes, a kitchen gadget is definitely up my street. It's something that is not too expensive. Like you said, you think, well, that will be really useful. I need to stop believing the hype. I'll narrow it down to two. So if I'm having a roast dinner, I'm spending hours and hours making, beef, chicken, roast potatoes, mash, cauliflower cheese, and all the different vegetables. I spent ages. And then what I absolutely hate is to put it onto a cold plate. So I saw something advertised, which is almost like an electric blanket. You plug it in and you put one plate on top of the other and you sort of put this electric blanket in between and you switch it on and it promised that the plates, they would be lovely and warm. It'd keep your food warm. It'd keep it hot even. I thought, great. Did it work? No. They were tepid, maybe lukewarm, a little bit warm, but it was rubbish. But anyway, I think I sort of gave that to the charity shop because somebody might appreciate it, but just I didn't.
Maybe.
But maybe then the last one I do love. If again, if you go to the seaside, some places they have these machines where they make donuts, and so they come on this the sort of batter goes down, it goes on a machine, it comes out, and the donuts are lovely and fluffy and just perfect. And there was a donut make, which, to be honest, I should have known because it kind of looked like a waffle maker. It was an electric one with sort of rings in it. Honestly, they came out, they were hard, they were almost crunchy. And of course, your dad's just like, what are these even supposed to be? And I'm like, the donuts, and they were not like your typical donuts. So again, I don't have that anymore. And if I want to clutter up my cupboards, I can think of better things to clutter them up with. So yeah, they've gone. But I mean, you're quite careful with your choices because you're not materialistic. You don't buy things for the sake of it. So I'm really interested to know what is the most ridiculous thing you've ever spent your money on, Lewis.
I
Tell
mean,
me.
we are definitely complete opposites in this. And I was actually going to say that I've never really wasted my money on something ridiculous. That was my initial response to this question when I quickly had a look at the question. I didn't prepare an answer. But as you were speaking, I kept racking my brain and thinking of ideas. And it's maybe not a ridiculous thing because there was some logic behind it, but it is something that I definitely wasted my money on because I've never really used it. And this was, I think, 2 years ago, more or less. And I ordered on Amazon a couple of nice big lights to be able to improve my like home studio for videos and stuff like that. So I bought 2 big lights and I bought a frame where I could put a big green screen, which was essentially just one big cloth, which was green, and then a huge frame, which was like 2 meters high, 3 meters wide, and my flat isn't that big. So there wasn't that much room. It could barely fit in my flat once I put it up. And then after setting it up, I recorded a couple of videos like that, and I just couldn't get it to work how I wanted it to work. So I was envisioning possibilities of really high quality edits with lots of virtual backgrounds behind me. And to be honest, I can kind of do that with just a plain white background anyway, which I have in my flat, without all of the hassle of setting up this frame with the lights and the green screen, then having to take it down immediately after setting it up because, of course, it takes up so much room. So this is probably something relatively recently that I bought. Maybe I spent 100 quid on everything, so it wasn't that expensive, but I think I've used it once and never again. And it's still kind of tucked away in a corner of my flat, and I need to get rid of it. I need to give it away to charity or see if somebody else is foolish enough to buy it. So this is one ridiculous thing that I did spend money on, and it was a complete waste of money. So yeah, I'm not immune to these things despite being very stingy. So yeah, maybe we are more similar than we think.
Wow.
Now, I think we've got 2 more questions. This next one is about gifts, about presents. So, have you ever received a gift that you didn't like? Mum, have you?
I'm sure I have over the years, definitely. I think my parents probably knew that I was quite particular in my choices and my tastes. So they used to tend to sort of say, what would you like? And ask me first so that, or I might even sort of say, we'll give you some money. You can buy what you want. My mother-in-law, not so much. She used to like to gift things to you, but that was all fine because it came from the heart. It came from a good place. Your dad used to buy me clothes, and sometimes they were a hit, and sometimes not so much, but I would wear them anyway. So I'm the sort of person that if I get a gift, I just think, well, you know what, somebody's taken the time to give me it, so I will appreciate it. I think there was one Christmas Dad did buy me a pillow, and that was a little bit strange. He told me it was a luxury pillow. It was goose down. It was top of the range, but it was a pillow. You know, I was hoping something a bit more personal. I could buy a pillow myself. So I think that was an unusual thing. It wasn't a bad present. It was just unusual. And then, of course, when I was working, we had something called Secret Santa, which obviously was around Christmas time. And so everybody who wanted to take part, they put their names in a box, and then somebody chose one of these names. So you never told people. That the secret bit was that you never told the person that you were buying them a gift. But the only problem was the budget. How much you were allowed to spend was something really small, like £5 or £6. So you can imagine we couldn't really get anything very good quality. And then the worst bit was that just before the Christmas break, we would all sit in a circle in the staff room with our gift, and we would have to open it in front of everybody else. So obviously you have that expectation of, I need to look pleased with it. So, so you're opening like, oh, this is nice. Oh, that's lovely. And honestly, sometimes I'm thinking, I have no idea what to do with this. So I always thought chocolates were good. I do remember getting scarves quite a few times from people. So I don't know, maybe that was like an easy option. But yeah, I've never hated anything. If people are kind enough to buy me something, I like to be gracious in accepting it. But hopefully I've never bought you anything that you've really hated. So
I mean,
what's your answer, please?
I don't think you've ever got me anything that I hated. There's never been a moment of me like getting all moody or stroppy because you gave me something that I didn't appreciate or didn't want. I think maybe there are times when you're unwrapping a present and maybe you expect it to be something else and you get your hopes up, you get excited, and then you're like, thanks. That's really, really thoughtful of you. That's really nice of you, really kind of you. And then it goes back to the phrase of, well, it's the thought that counts. It's the intention what counts. And I think the only things I could say is when you open boxers, socks, all of these very practical things that as a child at least, or as a teenager, you don't really appreciate it. You take these things for granted. I have a bit of a tickly throat. But nowadays, whenever I open these presents, I'm like, wow, amazing. Underwear, socks. And I really appreciate them because I rarely buy them myself. Sorry, I have a bit of a tickly cough at the moment. But yeah, to sum up, I would say that in the past, I didn't really like unwrapping presents of socks or boxers. But now it's like, yes, come on. Yeah. Now, let's move on to the final question, because as you can tell, I have a tickly throat at the moment. And we have one more question before we wrap it up. And to wrap up, of course, means to wrap a present using wrapping paper, but also, especially for meetings, if you wrap it up, it means that you finish. So one question before we wrap it up. This one is, would you rather have a surprise holiday or choose everything yourself? Dun, dun, dun. Mum, which would you rather have? What's your preference?
I'm more than happy to have a surprise weekend away in the UK. So I know it's going to be somewhere that's not too far. If the place isn't quite what you'd hoped for, it doesn't matter because you're home after a couple of days. So yeah, sometimes like your dad did surprise me when it was our birthday, because we share a joint birthday. And yes, we went to the Lake District. It was lovely. It's lovely to have those sort of surprises. But if he booked a 2-week holiday somewhere and I didn't know, I would hate it. I'm not a control freak, but I need some input. So if he suddenly said, we're going to, I don't know, New York, we're going shopping, I don't like flying. So that's quite a distance thing. I don't particularly want to go shopping all the time. So, I mean, he would know not to do that. But even if it was somewhere abroad, even to, a resort, I would like to know where I was going. He could do a day excursion, maybe I could do some hints like, well, I'd love to watch the dolphins or something and maybe throw that in there. So he would take the hint and maybe book that. But yeah, I'm not big on surprises. I do like an idea, and also you need to know what to pack. So, but yeah, I'm happy to go with some surprises, but a whole holiday, absolutely not.
Nah, I am on the same page as you. We see eye to eye here for sure. Because even for my stag do, which was just over a month ago, my bachelor party, I didn't really know where we were going to be going up until a few weeks before when somebody let the cat out of the bag. Somebody spilled the secret. So then I found out. But like with this, I was still a little bit like restless, not knowing what I should do at what time, if there were some other surprises waiting for me. So I was a little bit, unsettled or nervous with everything going on because I do like to be in control. I like to know what's happening, when it's happening, if I should be nervous about something or if I should be excited about something. So I'm not a control freak either, but there is a certain limit that everybody has. And I can't just willy-nilly say, okay, you're in charge. I'll do whatever you want. Because I can't hand over control that easily. So for that reason, I would say that for sure, I would rather choose everything myself and organize everything, not so meticulously, where every single action and moment is planned for, but you want to have a rough idea of where you're going to be staying, what you're going to be doing, as you said, what you need to pack as well. So yeah, we are definitely on the same page when it comes to this final question.
Yes.
Good.
And the stag do was lovely in the end, yes. But I can imagine you are nervous because, quite often stag do, they do sort of like get you to dress up and things like that. So I can see the nerves there, but they did a really good job.
Absolutely. So thank you to my friends for organizing my stag. Now, a quick little recap, not of all of the notes that have come up during this conversation, but a few of them that I haven't gone over yet. And luckily, it seems like my throat is better. Just out of nowhere, I started coughing and I was like, oh no, we're going to have to pause it because I can't speak. But we got through it in the end. Phew, what a relief. And the final words to go over are narrow down. So Mum was using this phrasal verb to narrow down, speaking about the different things that she has bought that maybe are ridiculous and maybe she wasted her money on. So she had to narrow it down to two options. So to narrow down is to reduce the number of options. You narrow it down. Another one was, it's up my street. So, that's right up my street. I think in American English, they say it is up my alley. And it's used to say that you like it. It's your cup of tea. It's something you are into. So, donuts on the seaside in the UK, that's right up my street. It's something I love. And finally, when speaking about water in particular, if it's not hot, but it's not cold, you could say, as Mum did, it's tepid or lukewarm. So maybe you are running a bath and you don't want it to be boiling and you don't want it to be too cold either. You could say, okay, it's a bit lukewarm, so it's a little bit cold, so maybe we can add some more hot water and then It will be just right. It will be spot on. Perfect. So anyway, let's wrap it up there. And Mum, thank you once again for joining me.
My pleasure.
And
Always
we'll be
nice.
Sorry, what was that?
I say it's always nice to chat with you. Obviously, we do speak other times as well, but yes, it's lovely.
Well, the pleasure was all mine. And thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening, and let us know the question that I asked everybody at the beginning. What do you think to the mustache? Yay or nay? Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.